doing this, so first you have to understand whenever we are talking about this classifications and if you are talking about the machine learning, so there is a three way to do the machine learning classifications. Okay, so one is obviously you know about the supervised learning. Okay, another is unsupervised classification, or you can say unsupervised learning technique. Another is reinforcement learning technique. So here this SVM is actually falling under this supervised learning technique. Why it is falling under SVM, so supervised learning? Because here also you require the training sites or training samples. Okay, so which is actually you need to put inside your the model. Okay, so then only you will get the classification accuracy is good. So it is also always depend on your training samples. So why SVM we are using for? SVM we are using for the classifications and different kind of a regression analysis. Okay, so now we have to give a brief about how this SVM is actually working. Sorry, my heading I actually forget. So just don't concentrate on this heading. Just see this flow chart actually. The flow chart is actually here. We have, suppose I have the training samples. Okay, so the training samples I have, suppose here are two training samples. One is quadrilateral data and this is circular data. So these are my samples. So these samples, what we are going to do, we are going to put in our model. Okay, so once we put our model, okay, so then what this SVM is actually doing, it will do some predictions. Okay, so predictions, what the work they are doing in predictions, the work it is doing under prediction is the data. See, whatever the samples data we put, okay, and whatever the other data sets will there, we call their data as a test data or new data. So that new data, it will put in some two different group. One is in quadrilateral, one is in circular. So that is the group classification. Suppose whatever classes you are going to create it here, so it will put in that particular classes. Okay, and that should be your output. So that is the thing which actually SVM is actually doing. Okay, now the question is how we are actually separating the data here in SVM. So suppose you are creating a plane. Okay, so this is two data sets, two separated data sets. Okay, so one we consider, we called one is a consider class, which is my target class, which is a consider class, and the another data which is just opposite of that, that is it we called as this is as a opponent class. Okay, and if we put, so now there is a few terminology which is actually we are using in SVM. Okay, so that is, suppose this whenever we are going to separate these two type of data. Okay, so in between these two data we are actually creating a line. We just draw a line, okay, in between of these two data sets. So if you see these two data sets, so it is this line we are actually draw. Okay, so this line we call as a decision line. Also it is called as a separated hyperplane. Okay, so separating hyperplane, so it is called as a hyperplane, or you can call it is as a decision line. Okay, so why decision lines? Because on the basis of this line we can separate two classes. Okay, so this is the one thing which is we called as a separated hyperplane. So now the next thing is we have to create a two boundary between the two classes. So how this classification is actually doing? So this, it is actually taking a line. So whatever this is your consider class, okay, so whatever it is your consider class, so and your opponent class, there should be some value should be coming near to those classes. Okay, so in this case in consider classes we consider these 2 points are very closer to other class, and in this classes opponent class, so this point is coming very closer to that class. So if you put a line, if you draw a line over these two, so then these two lines is actually joining and separating these two classes on the basis of the hyperplane. So now there is another two things which is actually coming to the pair, that is a distance of this. So this is, one is negative distance, one is the positive distance. Okay, so these two we called as a d minus plus d pluses. Okay, so if you plus these two, means d minus plus d plus, then you will get a margin. Okay, so margin is actually, it is a very important part which is actually separating the two classes, okay, on the basis of the hyperplane. So this is actually taking a very important role whenever it is classifying the two data sets. So now the question is why it is calling as a support vector. So what is the support vector? So support vector is the points which on the basis we are actually drawing these two lines. Okay, so that we call as a support vector. So ye jo hai, ye this is, there is a two way, means that I am not have time to create another PPT, but anyway there is a various way to do this type of classification. So whenever you go for the SVM, there is a non-linear and linear techniques will be there. So linear is basically whenever we are creating a line, we can able to separate the two type of pixels. But whenever there is a pixels, there is some boxes will be there, and surrounding some circular boxes will be there. So how we'll separate it in a single line? So that is not possible. So in that case, we are actually going to follow the non-linear SVM technique. So there in that case, so we have to follow some other method. Okay, so we have to put a kernel and we have to create a 3D space to separating our data, which actually the SVM is actually doing. So that's why the SVM results, if you consider the normal supervised classification, so you will found this as more accuracy. So suppose the data. Okay, so samples I already collected because it will take a large time. So how we'll collect the samples that I am explaining you here. So here, if you have to select. See, I just clip the imagery first. Okay, so whatever the target area, so that I am just selecting it here. Okay, and then so once you select there, then you have to go to this imagery. Okay, and here you have options for the PCC. These are the options. Okay, so here you have options for training sample manager. As for SVM, you require training samples. Okay, same like supervised classification. So you click over this and see here I already created this. So if you want to create a new class, how will create a new class? So this is the predefined. So up to this, it is a predefined class it is actually created. And see here, 1 minute I am just showing you. So suppose, yeah, see what is it actually showing? Value is 20, alias is 20. Okay, so this is actually very important. You know why? Because see, this is actually showing the 1010. Suppose this is showing 1010. So this is actually showing you 2020. So see, if you come here, so it is 90. So whatever classes I created, so see this, whatever value I am giving. So 100, 110, so 120. Okay, so like this way, whenever you are giving the value and alias, okay, so that you have to put a sequence wise. So because whenever you are actually identifying your ground truth, so you have to identifying by using this value, not by name. Okay, so that time you will be confused. So you should be very careful whenever you are creating the classes. So because this is actually learning process. So whenever first time I did, I am not considering on that. Okay, so it will be creating problem in my accuracy time. Okay, so that is the reason you have to be very careful about your value. And so that is actually showing you, okay, whenever you are coming to here. Anyway, you have to click this plus symbol to add a new classes. So this is actually Chandan showed in a very nice way. So how we do these classes, I'm just explaining you how we did the classes. Okay, so now here, if you see, you just give a new name, see whatever the new classes you want. Okay, so suppose I am going to create a class here like a small river. Okay, so value is already 120, I have 130. Okay, alias also give 130. Okay, descriptions you can write. So this will be very, this I just write it for mature agriculture. I detail that the agriculture which in mature state, or growing agriculture, the growing agriculture in a growing state. Fallow, the agriculture land which have no agriculture still now. So like this way you have to give some descriptions which will be easy to understand what kind of means the class is actually it is. Okay, so after that you just click it okay. Okay, so new classes will add it here. So now if you want to add the training samples, how we'll add the training samples here? Suppose I want to add few more classes under this my mature agriculture. Okay, so I've just zoom it few places. Suppose here I want to collect the training samples. Okay, so you just take this one freehand. So freehand is very good. Actually, you need not to click. So you just make a draw like this and just okay. So see here. Okay, so so see, as I already selected here as a water, so it is coming under water. So if you make, so I make a mistake here, so I just delete it first. Okay, so now I want to add this under this my mature agriculture. Okay, this is my mature agriculture. So there I want to put. So select it here, select it here. Okay, and then you can add it here. Okay, so see here it is coming under mature agriculture. Okay, so if you want to do it some other places, So you can also do it like this. So like this way, if you want to, now you want to merge these two, okay, then you can click like this. So it will be merged with this mature agriculture. Okay, so it is coming under this group. So like this way, you have to collect some other group also, like some growing agriculture, you collected it here. Okay, so suppose you want to see how many group I created. So you just click this one, expand, so you will understand. See, these are the group I actually created for the mature agriculture. So if you want to add all together, just click on this, click shift, okay, and go for the again the classes. So this is your mature agriculture classes will come. Okay, so like this way means whatever I told, say minimum you can take a 50 points, 50 samples. Okay, Sarah. It's also depends on your size of your study area. Okay, if your study area is very large, so then you may require more training samples. Okay, or if it's study area very small or you have high resolution images, so maybe your training samples will coming down. Okay, so that depends, but if you are taking a more samples, so then it will be safe side. So but obviously whenever you are taking extra points, large points, so there is a chances of mixed classification also. So that will be very careful whenever you are taking the samples here. Okay, so now after doing this, you have to do what is, you have to save your data. So either you save it or you can save as. So wherever place you want to save your data, see I already save my data sets here. Okay, so this is as a save as your shapefile. So this is also I told to the people in JSAC. So they said, so is it in shapefile? So I have already have some shapefile, so that I also can upload it here or not. I said, sir, yes, you definitely you can do, but there is a issue. What issue? Suppose you have, means they said I already collected training samples for one date, so I can use the same date. I said definitely you can use, but the problem is if you are using the, suppose, see this is a January month, okay, and the January month I am collecting this training samples, and there is another date will be the, suppose, June month. Okay, so June month he is going to use the same training samples. The problem will happen is here. See, that time maybe this one is your mature agriculture and this will be the fallow, because this will be harvested within a 1 month. This will be harvested. Then your accuracy, then your classification will be totally wrong. So that's why it will be better practice whenever you are going to use, if you are going to use a training samples. So if it is a different dates, so it will be a better practice to collect your training samples separately. Okay, so now I have my training samples. Okay, so my training samples are ready. Okay, so now my training samples are ready. So what thing we have to do now? So now we have to classify it. Okay, so how we'll classify it? I have to go to the imagery. And then I go for this type of classification, suppose. Okay, so I already run it, so it is actually showing. So I already classified it, but the process I just telling you. So here you have the classification. So I am selecting here the support vector machines. Okay, so there is another way also, the random tree classification. So that is a totally different classification technique. So I will explain you sometime later. But this is actually the support vector machine classifications which you are going to, which is just I explained you. Okay, so if you hear, it is actually very nicely, it is explained it, what is actually we are actually doing. Okay, so now after doing this, what you have to do, you have to show your training samples. So wherever you have your training samples, you have to select that particular training sample. So for this, I just selected this one, the signature Kolkata, which whatever I collected for this. Okay, and there is a maximum number of the sample classes. Okay, so how many classes you want? So now it is a maximum, it is actually creating as a 500. Suppose I just telling you, it is creating as a 500. Okay, and then you have to give your output wherever you want to save it. Okay, and then just click run. So after doing this, you will get, so it after, if everything is fine, so you will get a result like this. So this result will be much more, you need to clarify more, because it is just a roughly I did, but still it is giving a very good classification. See, there is a river bed. Sometimes there is some sand particles, so that will be mixed up. But here it is very nicely extracted. Okay, so they are actually very happy because when they see the results in here. Okay, so now the next things you have to do, that is the accuracy assessment, which I have to show to them. Okay, so that is the big challenges because we have to prove our accuracy. Okay, so how this accuracy is actually getting. So to doing the accuracy assessment, what you have to do? Okay, so first you have to go to the geoprocessing tool. Okay, and just type here create accuracy points. Okay, and you will get this list. So in this, what you have to do? You have to select your classified data. Okay, so that classified data, just you classified, not the raw satellite image. The classified image you have to give as an input. Okay, and you just give a name, suppose accuracy point or whatever it is, point accu. Suppose I am giving a name, something like this. Okay, so target field, your classified image. You don't have ground truth here, so you have to create on the basis of this classified image. Okay, and here you have a sampling strategy. So sampling, there is a different kind of the statistics we are using the different kind of samplings. Okay, so equalizer, stratified, random samplings, random sampling. So here we are actually using stratified random samplings. Okay, so certified random samplings, I just clicked and I just click run. So once you click run, okay, you will get the output with this. So these are the points. So one more thing I just forget to tell, that is this number of the points. So as I told, so we usually do it whenever we are going to field, we collected 200 samples around your you are doing a kind of ward level or district level classifications on wherever you are going to do. So we actually minimum collected 200 points. Okay, so in this case it is randomly created you 500, but to show you in a quick way, just I have 15 minutes time, so I just taken here as a 20. So if I give 20, so it will automatically created 40 points. Okay, so if I click on for the run, okay, so you will get this accuracy point. So now the question is, how will you able to see this accuracy point? So just you right click over it and open a attribute table. So see here ground truth I already created. Okay, because I have to show you, that's why I already created it here. Otherwise, whenever you first run the accuracy, so it will be classify field will come like this. Ground truth field will come like -2, -1, -2, -2, like this it will come. Then how this value is actually coming? I given this value is manual. So this is actually the manual where you have to put. How we will put? The process is whenever suppose this 0.1. Okay, so 0.1 is which one? Okay, first thing you have to do, you just stop your classify. You have to check your this value. Okay, and you right click over this and go to zoom to layer, and you have to check this particular value. Okay, so 100 is what? That is the code values. That time I told you na, that is 100, 120, 130, which I am giving the value. So it is same that value. So you have to understand that value, which you are actually creating when you are creating the training sample classes. So that value it is coming. On the basis of that, you have to do this accuracy here. Okay, so that's why suppose it is coming 100. So if it is over 100 means mature agriculture. Okay, so if it is coming 100 and my classified is showing 100 and my image is also showing 100, so I will put it here simply 100. Okay, so that means that my ground truth is showing the 100, so then it is 100. Okay, so now same way you have to check, see, you have to go for the each and every point. Okay, each and every point, see, you have to check. Suppose there is some differences, I just show you if I have any differences. Definitely we have it here. Okay, so you have to search it. There is some places where the value is different, and see this one. Okay, so this is the value. Okay, so this is actually showing you 100 is a mature agriculture, but it is falling in here, suppose. It is showing a growing state, suppose. Okay, or it is showing suppose a fallow, suppose this point. So that's why I just put it here 120. Okay, like this way you have to manually you have to put this value. So usually we do it in Excel sheet, but you have a direct options to do it here. So once you get this if full, then what you have to do, you have to give here edit mein jaake you have to select here save edits, because you have to manually putting this na. So then this edit, this you have to go for the save edits. Okay, so once your editing is done, next thing what you have to do, next thing is you have to calculate the confusion matrix. So how will do the confusion matrix you have create? So just go here, see compute confusion matrix, you just type it here. So you will get this confusion matrix too. Okay, and in this confusion matrix you have to put the accuracy. So accuracy points, so the points which you just created, you just select it, give some name, okay, where you have to see your accuracy table, so that you can give it here, okay, and then click run. So the output what you get, output you will get it here like this, open attribute table. See here. So your user accuracy here it is coming 0.875. Producer accuracy it is coming 8.33. Okay, and kappa coefficients it's coming here as a 8.33. So it is acceptable. Almost we called is a more than 80%. So we can accept it in classifications. Okay, so that is, then it is a very nicely it is came out, but this accuracy will be much more better. So if you are taking a training samples in an accurate way, okay, so these things you can transfer it in a Excel also, table, some table to Excel. Okay, so just give your input of this your test file, okay, and just click run. Okay, so wherever you want to just save your table, just run it and just open it in Excel and show to the customer. So then they will understand, okay, this is the total way how we'll do, how we'll collect the training samples and how we'll classify it, and after classifications, how can I will do the accuracy assessment.